Back at it again.
Yep.
Sean and Cass, very ape. A little fireside chat. Couldn't resist.
Winter 2024. It's bristly outside.
Yeah.
But we're warm inside.
Yeah. I don't know why this winter has felt much more brutal than other ones. Not sure why.
Sobriety.
It's true. It is a strange combination. You know, like everyone does dry January. It's like, that's a crazy month to do this. You know?
What month would be most ideal to do dry, though?
I thought, you know, maybe just because of Joe Rogan, it's in my head, but Sober October, maybe just because it rhymes. I don't know. That does feel like around the time where it's just like, let's settle it down. You know.
Because you had a wild summer.
Yeah.
You don't want to, you're back to school. You don't want to sober it up too fast, too hard.
Yeah.
Got to have a good time.
Totally.
In your beginning of your semester.
Yeah. But it is very toasty. I will say that. I'm already in a low-grade sweat, which I hope is good for me. I hope it's good for the listeners. Thanks for joining us. There's a ton more of our stuff on patreon.com/churchofchill. I never say it at the beginning of the episodes, but I should.
Yeah, because you're a good marketing guy.
Well, I'm not good. Now I'm trying to be good.
So professional.
Yeah, if you want to give us $2 and get all of our paywalled content, it's very much worth it. And if you want some of our merch, it's in limited supply. Cass is wearing one of them right now.
I love this
hoodie.
Yep.
The best hoodie ever.
Very comfortable. Very warm.
Yes. So patreon.com/churchofchill. And we're about to put out an episode of The Family Trip on our YouTube.
Yep. Family trip. I'm very excited about that one. I don't know if it's like we filmed it literally a year ago. So.
Yeah, we filmed it a year ago and we shopped it around, and I think it's a little too ahead of its time. So let's drop it on YouTube and get some hype going. And if you're interested in that, subscribe to our channel. I don't know. Hit like, subscribe, and when it comes out, leave a little comment on there.
Yeah, that's
I found out the comments really help things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, some sort of engagement. If we were more controversial people, I think we could get some sort of more back and forth engagement in our comments, and it would blast our podcast out to more people that don't know about it. But they don't deserve to know about it if they need controversy. You know?
That's kind of how I feel.
You know, it's another thing that I heard doesn't help on like a YouTube thing is that we just do one static shot.
Interesting.
Like the algorithm picks up on that it's like oh, they're not trying, fuck them. And also saying the F word in the first few minutes doesn't help either. So we're doing everything to crush our algorithm. Damn, girl, what's been going on? I feel like we've been in the cosmic fucking trenches lately.
I've been feeling great.
Yeah?
Considering,
Yeah.
you know.
At least one of us is.
One of us has to be feeling great. I don't know. I think that this year's starting off strong. I feel like the moving of energy has just been such a opening. Like it feels like the fruits of our efforts aren't necessarily paying off, but you just know that you're putting in the work. So you're just like, you're trusting.
When you're putting in the work so consistently, the fruits of your labor almost don't even matter.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fair to say.
I was trying to explain that to my dad this morning because, you know, we have some good things on the horizon. And he's like, what if they don't go good, though? What if something happens? And what if it doesn't go good? And I'm like, Dad, I know it is in our DNA as Irish people, to the doom and gloom thing.
Well, yeah.
But I'm like, how has it helped us? Besides a few good songs and a few good poems and this kind of thing, how has it helped our people to be so doom and gloom? You know? And then you gave him the speech about, you know, praying to the devil.
Well, I said we need your help.
Yeah.
Visualizing us doing positive things, not the negative thing of us getting the phone call that something's not happening or this is not going, you know, and this conflicts with that, and just like I don't even think of the things that he can think of.
Oh my God. See, he's so just worried. Like he's the human embodiment of worry. And I see what that does to a person and what it does to their spirit. And I'm like, I don't want to go down that path. So I'm like, almost like staunchly the opposite.
We gave like such a good pep talk, and then as we're going downstairs, he was like, I just can't help but think, but what if? And he says like the most gloom thing. And I was just like, yeah, you need some help, man. I don't know what to say. Because, I mean, I relate to it. I do relate to, like, being... Your neuroplasticity is just in a, like, and your creative energy is going towards a what if and oh no and this could be bad, and it almost is comforting
Yeah.
to like imagine the worst stuff, because then when the worst stuff happens, you're just like, I knew it was a possibility. But in my
There it
mind,
is.
you're just like, if the worst stuff's gonna happen, just let the worst stuff happen when it happens. Don't preemptively
Yeah.
live in the worst stuff happening, because then you have all the worst stuff happening for that much longer. It's like when when I made you go skydiving with me for my 27th birthday. Was that the year 27?
Yeah, it was your 27th.
Yeah, I made you go skydiving with me, and I was just like freaking out on the plane up. Not freaking out, but just like you could see it. I was like,
You definitely were. Yeah, you were spooked.
I was spooked. I was scared. I was like, what am I doing? And what am I making other people do?
As a person I'm very afraid of heights.
Yeah.
Like it's my fear. It's the thing that pops me up from like a dead sleep.
Yeah, but you went skydiving without me, and
Yeah.
I was like, because
I had done it once before.
you had done it once before, and I was like, okay, well, this is like on my bucket list, so we're gonna go. And I was scared shitless, to say the least. And you were like, you don't need to worry about jumping out of the plane until you're jumping out of the plane. Like,
Yeah.
just put off that worry. Why worry about that now? And I was like, it actually really helped me, and it's something that's helped me so much that I use it for everything. I'm like, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, and at the time, it really wasn't even meant to be like a life lesson or anything like that. It was literally meant to be, well, kind of what positive thinking can be, is like a protective cloak, like the best drug possible. If you're deluding yourself into thinking great things are going to happen for you, if you're deluding yourself into being pronoid as opposed to paranoid, how's that hurting anybody? How's it hurting anything? Like, this is what I was trying to say to my dad this morning. I'm like, so if this gig goes away, would you have wanted me spending the time between when we thought it was going to happen and when it didn't, toiling away and worrying, I knew it, of course, or would you have wanted me to be deluded into being hopeful? Like that's all. I mean, that's all it is. Like, and I don't know. I think it's one of the sickest drugs out there. It's PMA, positive mental attitude.
Yeah. If you have a win, even if it's never a win, you might as well enjoy the moment where it feels like it could be a win.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Well, because it feels like the universe and people really respond to that. When you have like a little bit of extra zhuzh in you, that extra pep in your step, because, you think good things are happening. Well, even though they're probably not.
And then about the universe, it's kind of like a desperate energy can be a little repulsive.
A little bit.
Well,
Does anything repulse us more these days than like desperation, worry, anxiety, fear?
Yeah, no, it's kind of, there's some laws to this place. There's some natural order and natural laws, and you can kind of hijack the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least to have a good day. Not necessarily to be, I'm not even interested in hijacking the system to become like rich and famous. I just want to have a good day.
Me too. To me, that's the cosmic warfare that we're in the trenches for.
Yeah.
Right now. It's like, it's not about stopping the wars and solving hunger and peace on earth. And that's a much bigger thing.
I think
it's about having a good day. But I think if more people focused on that we could solve all of those problems pretty much overnight.
I hope so. I would like to know how to solve those problems, and I would like to know just the insanity and how to stop it, and I would like to know that. So if anyone knows, please let me know, because I will. I just want to, we just got to pray for a better universe at the very least. It's like the least you can do.
Yeah. But you are the universe.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing those things for you, how the hell could you possibly cast any kind of larger spell on anything? Does that make sense?
It does. It makes sense to me. Yeah, you got to start at home, and that's where it's like, I so badly want to fight, but what I hate more than anything is fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
I know.
I'm like, can we stop fighting?
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite thing you've said in the last 6 months is like, if someone lost their cat, it would be worth a ceasefire for that.
Yeah, I mean, I said that on the podcast to
know.
Noah.
No, I know, and it's my favorite thing you've said, because it just like, for me, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, can we just be this humane towards each other that if someone, no matter what they've done to you and what's happened, like someone, let's like someone lost their cat. Like everything needs
It's
to
so
stop.
heartbreaking. But in
Yeah.
order to feel that, you have to have access to your humanity,
Yeah.
and you have to have access to your compassion and empathy. And that's a tough thing to do in the fight we're in.
Well, you also got to deconstruct this idea of winners and losers. And I'm a
Mm.
winner and they're a loser. And we need to maintain this natural order of, American exceptionalism and Western exceptionalism. And it's just like, it's honestly the ugliest thing that this world has going for it right now. And I think if the ugliness that we put out in the world came back to us even a little bit, it doesn't humble our ass. It just like makes us like a bigger monster.
Well, we got it with 9/11.
Yeah.
We got a little taste of our own medicine, and we did not like it. And it set us up perfectly for the world we're in now, where people don't even question their Islamophobia.
Mm-hmm.
It's just built in to the whole thing because they scared the shit out of us, and we wanted to destroy the Middle East and keep them in constant chaos, and we've done it. Yeah. But
This is supposed to be a fireside chat.
This is a fireside chat.
Okay.
This is what the fireside chats are all about.
Okay, good.
But I do appreciate you kind of having the awareness, because I know that the genocide that's being enacted on the Palestinian people right now tears us apart every day. It just fucks with us. It's hard to do anything without bringing that up.
And it's not going to stop fucking with you because there are people who, like, their homes are gone. Like, millions of people whose homes are gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we're not going to make people, we just won't make people thriving our problem. We'll just make destruction our mission,
Mm-hmm.
with zero concern for the desperation that's happening in this country. And when you think we don't care about homeless people here, we're definitely not going to care about homeless people over there. So that's
No.
why we can, with wild abandon, level places, because we've already decided as a culture that we don't care about people not having homes. We don't care about people not having food. We don't care about people being hungry.
We hate refugees. We do. We truly hate refugees. It's like it's what this country, it's what this stolen land was built upon. Was people coming here from much worse situations and trying to make a better life for themselves. And it's kind of what's cool about this country. It's like it's a melting pot of cultures from all over the world who are like, yeah, shit sucks here. Let's go make a better life in America.
But not you. You're not worthy of a better life. You're not worthy of pursuing the pursuit of happiness. Like, this is our happiness to consume. And
Yeah.
it's a certain sickness that we all have. It's a sickness of spirit that you can't really extricate yourself from in the United States. It just like is part of our DNA, and it's like a global DNA and I guess it comes from like a fear versus love. It's like if you break it down to its root level, is like being scared of each other and having like a lack mindset. Like there's not enough space for us. There's not enough
Scarcity mindset.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. That's what it is.
It's what drives all the problems, is a scarcity mindset. And anytime you hear people saying like, oh, there's too many people, there's this and that, there's not too many people on this earth.
We also hear people then saying there's not enough people to like replace this population, so we're going to have like a huge population crash. And that's what's happening in China and happening in different places in Japan, where it's like their new generation can't even support the generation that's going out.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I feel about population. It's these ideas are just like too big for me.
Yeah. So that just, it shows that that's not what you have to worry about or think about too much. It's good to have a sense of that type of stuff, but it's I've just learned to not let things out of my immediate control throw my nervous system out of whack. Because I think my nervous system gets out of whack a little easier than yours because of the household I was brought into.
Mm-hmm.
Brought up in, like, the screaming and yelling and insanity and overreacting, catastrophizing.
And we all have just like different levels of sensitivity, like, and whether it's Merkaba's or just earth energy in our chart or whatever it is, like there's just, or being an artist or whatever, there's just different people, being autistic, being neurodivergent, whatever it is going on around here.
Yeah. God knows. My grandma died this week.
Yeah.
The last of our grandparents, of our 8 grandparents combined. She was the last one.
Crazy.
90 years old, born in 1923, I believe.
That'd make her 100 years old.
I mean 1933. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
But it's upsetting. We didn't have that close of a relationship, but how do you not have a close relationship with somebody who carried your DNA forward and allowed you to live and made a lot of sacrifices so she could have my dad? I mean, she had my dad at 18 years old in the Catholic Church. That was crazy. She had to lie about
Wedlock.
Yeah, out of it. Well, it was within wedlock, but just under the wire.
Right.
Like just under the wire. Shotgun wedding.
Does it count if you're like conceived out of wedlock?
That's what they call it, a shotgun wedding, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's what that term's for. But I never had a problem with her. But good Lord, did she have lots of problems with lots of people, and including my dad, really, first and foremost. She saw something in him from day one that she didn't like, and my mom very astutely said it was a reflection of her father who didn't treat her right.
Right.
She looked at my dad and she couldn't help but see her father, and he just got treated a certain way by her, which was brutal.
Well, also just the idea that he was a mistake.
Yeah.
That a lot of shame brought on her and the family by her having him at such a young age, right?
Yeah, my dad's whole life was imbued with shame because that was like the prevailing emotion while she was pregnant. When she conceived, while she was pregnant, when she had him, all of that stuff, that was the prevailing emotion from his mother. And I think it's like no coincidence that he ended up like a worrywart and someone who sought escape through drugs and alcohol and God knows what else, But I still want to honor her, and I still think she was a beautiful soul who had the right ideals in mind, but just had such a fucked up upbringing herself.
That's kind of what makes me think of what we were starting the podcast with, like our country is sick because it like started like it.
Yes.
It's like the sickness just gets passed down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it is, and even to the point where you could pinpoint a certain kind of sickness.
Mm-hmm.
Like it makes sense to me why my dad ended up the way he ended up when I hear him tell stories about his relationship with his mother. His dad died when he was like 27. His dad was 49 years old when he died.
Just very young.
Yeah, died of a heart attack in front of me and my mom. I was only 6 months old. And, he was the positive force in the family. He was the PMA guy.
Except when it came to weed.
Yeah, no. He definitely took the cultural prescription of like what to be for and against at the time. And it was like they were lucky. My dad was lucky in the sense that he came up in like the 50s and 60s. It was a very idyllic time. It was like when we say like make America great again for white people, they're talking about that age.
When the tax rate on millionaires was 70% or something.
Yeah, exactly.
We like to conveniently let that part slide.
Oh yeah, totally. And the middle class was thriving. And so my dad had a good upbringing in the sense of like whatever, they could afford to send him to private school so a nun could beat the shit out of him instead of it was stuff like that. But he lost his dad, and that really sucked the light out of the family, and all that was left was the void of my grandmother, who was very, very hard on my dad and very judgmental. And
the void of your grandfather.
Yeah, but I'm also talking about the void that she is. I'm not even. That wasn't a mistake in my words. Like
okay.
She was a void in a sense, and avoidant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're like that, when your mom's like that, you're going to seek certain forms of escape. And that happened conveniently time out for my dad with LSD and Quaaludes and Black Beauties and all the stimulants that came along in the 70s and 80s and all the beautiful prescription drugs he abused my whole upbringing and continues to kind of fuck with. I get it. I get it when I hear him tell stories about like how she was with him. And even growing up, like my dad at one point made a huge, goddamn, a huge kerfuffle, to say the least, in our lives. He stole our what are they called? Our primary care doctor. He stole his prescription pad and was writing fake prescriptions all over town for himself.
That's a bad one.
Oh God, it was so bad. It was like when he got caught, it was like he was looking at least 5 years in prison.
Wow.
This would have been when I was like 12, 13 years old.
And didn't you say that was like in the front page of the paper or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. Because my mom had just become president of the school board.
Jeez.
This is the biggest school district outside of New York, outside of the city, in all of New York. And that's an elected position. Like, my mom ran for and won to be president of the school board.
While she had 4 kids.
While she had 4 kids, and she was going in there with a revolutionary mindset. Like, we got to change things up a little bit. And so she was a fighter. That's how she got elected. So the powers that be were looking for any excuse to take her down. And I don't think that normally would have been a front page headline. But look at the timing of it all. So somehow the community rallies together and is like, Jack's actually a good guy, which he is.
Yeah.
He was just fucked up, and his drug of choice only came from the pharmacies.
Yeah, looking for the love of his mother in every pill bottle.
Yeah, exactly. And so he was writing these fake prescriptions, got caught, and was looking at least 5 years, and it was terrifying. It was really terrifying, and people were like making fun of me on the bus and shit. It was like super embarrassing, and I didn't even really know how to speak to it because I was like, my family, they just like kept me in the dark about it. It wasn't like they sat down and said, look, here's what we're facing, here's what our future could be. It was just like I was just picking up on things by like overhearing conversations and shit. And this is probably what made me such like a clear communicator as a person and want to get my ideas across very clearly, is like nobody ever spoke to me like that. No one was ever straight up with me. So
well, and also to be heard, you have to be very direct.
Yeah. So the community rallies together and writes like 1 million letters to the judge, like,
because your dad was like your little league coach. There was like, he knew a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, he was so much to so many people. He was the guy sponsoring 1 million people in AA when he was doing that. He was
that's kind of hilarious.
He helped a lot of people.
It's just crazy to like help a lot of people, but also be like,
he like like how Jerry Garcia could have used the Grateful Dead in his life. My dad could have used a Jack. In his life, like somebody that was just loyal to the core, and it's just like good qualities. It's kind of fucked up that we like criminalize certain things. What he did was very bad. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah.
But did this guy deserve to be in prison for 5+ years? I don't think so. Neither did the community. So the community rallied together. Some really high up people said, no, he's actually a good guy who's just struggling right now. And the judge took mercy on him and gave him 5 years probation and a goddamn ankle bracelet. So for a year, literally coaching Little League, he had a fucking goddamn ankle bracelet, an ankle monitor on. And this would have been the early 90s. So this thing was no joke.
I don't know if there needs to be a movie about your dad's life or your life with your dad,
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know. We've done a podcast with my dad, but it was like everything leading up to this. We talked about all like kind of the more fun times with drugs, and then
before you have 4 kids and there's consequences.
Well, before you turn to pharmaceuticals and like really hardcore stuff that just
before crack's all over the place.
Before crack and like when he was messing around with hash and LSD, which are my drugs of choice.
And like a little one that'll throw you for a loop, like a little Jimson weed here and there.
A little Jimson weed to keep you honest.
To keep you scared.
Yeah, we did a short film about that called Demons in the Street. It's on our YouTube channel. So he gets this ankle monitor and 5 years probation, which is like dodged a bullet because like now at least he's still in the family. He can still keep his job. He can still keep earning all this shit.
Is this the time that he he called in a prescription and then went to get it filled, and then they busted him, and then they let him out on the streets again, and then he called another prescription in the same day?
No, that was before this. He got arrested twice in the same day for the same crime. That's classic. This is before he dialed it in and was like, let me just steal a prescription pad. He would call and pretend to be a doctor. And he did it and was coming out of a CVS, and they got him for it. And he somehow got himself out of jail and went and just literally did the same thing the same day, got arrested again. This is back when you used to be able to get away with this stuff. Like, he has multiple DWIs. I don't even know if you can accumulate multiple DWIs these days. He got a DWI where he had a pound of weed in the car, and he didn't get like in that much trouble.
So the benefits of being a smooth talker.
Benefits of being a smooth talking a white guy from the middle class.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, when like, and the amount of DWIs he didn't get.
Well, yeah.
Where he would get pulled over and the cop would be like, "Oh, Jack Dunn, you sound like a good Irishman. I'll follow you home. You know, just make sure you get home safe." That type of shit. But so like, look, anyone else would have this brush with the law and the brush and a brush with like potentially going to prison and losing your family and take it very seriously. But for my dad, this was going to be an issue. To be on probation and have the state looking down at you all the time. Like, it really meant he had to stay clean. And his mom called his probation officer and said, "I think my son's fucked up. You should go drug test him." What the fuck?
That's
God bless you,
fucked up.
Mare, because I know you're one of my angels now. And I know, like, that was just earthly stuff that really dissolves when
And she
someone
probably
dies.
really believed it.
Mare is my grandmother's name, by the way, not our
Yes.
ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
But God bless you, Mare. I don't know. I don't know who you thought you were protecting or what you thought you were doing, but that sent just crazy chaos into our life. I'll never forget not understanding as like a 12, 13-year-old boy, my dad sitting there just drinking gallons of water, just like you wouldn't believe. Like,
So
he
she
could
was
have killed
right.
himself.
She was probably right to not right. It wasn't right to
There's
do
nothing
it.
right about that.
There's nothing
There's
right.
nothing right about reporting somebody being a snitch. There's nothing commendable about that. I don't care who you think you're helping. It's no good. He needed rehab. He needed his mother's love, not his mother's shame. And I'll just never forget. And that's just like one of
Wait, so he was just
countless
so he was
examples.
just drinking like a shit ton of water.
Yeah, he was like pounding water and like this is before you had all these things that you could do to get around those kind of drug tests. So like, he just really didn't even know if he was going to get popped or if it was going to spike on a drug test or something like that.
Didn't he like get locked up in front of, was it your sisters or something?
What do you mean?
Like, not locked up, but like put in handcuffs or something, or like the cops came when your grandma called?
No, the cops didn't come, but
Okay.
they were like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah. You got to take a drug test Monday morning," and this was like on a Friday, and it was like the craziest weekend of water drinking. It's the most water he's ever drank. It's like, maybe it's why he doesn't like water now.
It might be.
We can't convince him to drink 3 ounces of water. He's like, "I had my water yesterday. I drank water 2 days ago." He's hilarious. He really is the absolute funniest. But like, imagine having that level of contention with your mother going through life.
That she's snitching on you.
That she's snitching on you. She'd rather see you behind bars than catching a buzz. What are we doing? So, and it's crazy because she treated me the complete opposite. I could do no wrong in her eyes. And, God, there was just countless situations like that. And I don't know how much can you really blame my dad when you have that context for how he came up. And
I remember once you doing DMT and just being like, I see the chain of, like, I think it was like almost specifically with your dad and your mom.
it was
Yeah.
it was I smoked DMT in our old apartment in Greenpoint. And I had probably done DMT like a half a dozen times before that. And they were all just like very confused, like, whoa, I was just in like a fractal universe. But this specific time, it felt like I tapped into like the cosmic hose of love that goes throughout generations. Like, just a super zoomed out look at what life and what love is. And there was a kink in the hose right before it got to my grandmother Mare. And there just wasn't as much. It's like when you kink a hose, it's like some still gets through, and there was some. It was droplets.
Water's supposed to be coming your way.
But it
know
just
you're in a
didn't come
hose.
through. Yeah, it just didn't come through, and
Yeah.
it didn't come through for her, and therefore how the hell would it get passed on to my dad? Thank God he had his dad, who literally just represented the opposite type of energy, PMA all day, and highly successful, just out there killing it in life. And it killed him. Yeah. But she's with us now in spirit. And
Do you know what day your grandfather died? Because isn't it around probably the same time?
yeah, I think it was January 14th.
Wow. Okay.
January 14th, 1982. See, it was like 6 months to the day after I was born. And he was so proud of me, and he was so, excited to have a grandson, and he was the man. You see it like
The
now.
sideburns, I mean.
That's where I get them from. I have these
Yeah.
crazy ass sideburns, and I'm like, I don't know why I feel compelled to do this, or why you feel compelled to shave me this way. And yeah, I think that's my way of honoring him now.
Yeah.
John Joseph Don.
The other morning when we found out she had passed, your mom pulled out a book and you read this passage that was really good that I think is like one of the. Should I read it?
Do you have it?
Yeah, well, I took a picture of it.
Yeah, read it. I barely remember this. I was surprisingly very emotional. I think I had to do the grieving for the whole family.
Yeah.
I think because her presence in the family hardened so many people, and that it didn't do to me.
Well, they have like certain traumas around her and how she treated them at certain times where they really needed her and she wasn't there, kind of stuff. So that
yeah,
a lot of that stuff, you think when someone dies, all the good stuff comes up, but actually a lot of not the great stuff comes up.
No,
First.
totally. So I think it's a blessing in a way that like I'm such a head and that I've like remained sensitive and have access to those emotions. Because I felt like I was uncontrollably crying, and I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. Like, I didn't expect this, but maybe I was doing it on behalf of my father and his sisters. And
yeah, I think so.
yeah.
Do you want to read it or?
I can try. Oof.
Sorry.
Okay. And I'll say this is a prayer from my grandmother, Mary.
Yeah, and anyone in your
Mary
life.
Barrett Dunn. And anyone in your life that may be on the cusp or maybe we recently lost. I pray that you will have the blessing of being consoled and sure about your death. May you know in your soul there is no need to be afraid. When your time comes, may you have every blessing and strength you need. May there be a beautiful welcome for you in the home you are going to. You are not going to somewhere strange, merely back to the home you have never left. May you live with compassion and transfigure everything negative within and about you. When you come to die, may it be after a long life. May you be tranquil among those who care for you. May your going be sheltered and your welcome be assured. May your soul smile in the embrace of your Anam Cara.
Beautiful.
I don't know what that is, though. Anam Cara.
Do you want me to look it up?
You don't have to. But it must mean something. Everything else is like totally makes sense to me, and then they throw in 2 words at the end, and I'm like, I'm not sure what that is.
I think this guy, the author's John Donahue. Anam Cara is a phrase that refers to the Celtic concept of the soul friend in religion and spirituality. It was popularized by John O'Donohue, this book. It's Celtic wisdom, right?
Yeah.
How come it's not the Boston Celtics?
Because they're from Boston. You know how it is up there.
I like that, though. Soul friends.
Yeah.
And are considered an essential and integral part of spiritual development. Anyone without a soul friend is like a body without a head.
Wow.
It's pretty dramatic.
It's very Irish. But all I can see now is like she's at peace. All that turmoil that drove so much of her behavior and her behavior towards my father is it's peace now, and she's reunited with my sister, Erin, Patricia. She's reunited with her husband John Joseph, and her daughter Colleen, who also passed away a few years ago tragically. So we honor them. They have our back. They have our back. I went up to the cemetery and I saw birds. I saw a lot of birds. And I was like, okay, that always makes me think of the recently past. I think it'd be cool to come back as a bird.
I mean, to be able to fly would probably be as cool as it gets.
Yeah, but you're stuck with a bird brain.
Is that so bad?
It's not so bad. I mean, I just think of it all the time when I see, when like we go to like great, like outdoor shows, like, you go and see some version of the Grateful Dead and these birds get in there for free. They get to just swim around in this sonic landscape.
Exactly.
It's pretty awesome.
And then sometimes there's birds that just, you're like, why would you want to hang out here? You can fly anywhere else. What are you doing? And
what are they doing?
well, they're looking for French fries,
Okay. Soul Friends.
Yeah.
That's their version of Soul Friends. They're looking for French fries. Yeah. So that's, I mean, look, my grandmother lived till 90. Your grandfather lived till
93.
93. Your dad's parents lived to 79 and 89. That's a pretty good run.
Oh, I don't even know that.
Their headstones there's a picture of their headstones printed out for some reason in the other room.
Yeah.
So I was doing the math. I was just trying to calculate. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm just like, how much time do Cass and I have together? Like, you know what I mean? How much time could we have together if we made a great run at it?
And don't get like anything take us out prematurely.
Yeah, nothing takes us out prematurely. We just like die of old age, like our grandparents did. Most of them, besides my grandfather, who died of a heart attack at 49. Insane.
That's why we don't like your dad out there doing physical labor.
No, because it's literally my grandfather shoveled the driveway, and came in and just dropped dead. And he had quit smoking a year before.
Yeah.
But you know what? A little factor that I'd never heard until recently. My dad said when his father quit smoking, every night after dinner, he would just get a thing of cookies out and a stick of butter and just eat a stick of butter by putting it on each cookie. And I'm like, oh, that's why he died. He ate himself into like clogged arteries and destroyed his heart health. And
oh my God, that's hilarious.
It's like a little stupid little detail that they tell me in my 40s, and I'm like, that's what killed him. Like, what are we talking about?
You're like, I've been scared to shovel snow whole time.
But exactly. But it does make me think, despite my dad smoking, he could maybe last some more years. I don't know. I'm trying to keep him healthy. I give him mushrooms every day. That's my attempt to do something. I try to give him water. I try to give him mushrooms, and just try to have a good day.
I mean, it was crazy. Like this morning we were talking about someone who like passes of a speedball, and I was like, Jack, have you ever done a speedball?
He's like, a speedball.
He's like, no. And I was like, what about heroin? And he's like, oh, no. And then we're like, and you're like, yeah, you did. You fucking had an overdose in this house.
Yeah, which means it's the last 20 years. I said, didn't Megan find you having a heroin overdose and had to call 911? He goes, oh, yeah. I never shot it, though. I probably snorted heroin 3-4 times in my life, which means 30 or 40 with him. Yeah, insane. And I
it's just like you've done a lot when you overdosed of heroin, and you're like, I didn't really do heroin.
I know. I remember I was driving around. I had my friend Mike in the car, and I was driving around, and my Aunt Charlene saw me at the gas station. She's like, Sean, you got to go home right now. There was no cell phones back then, or I didn't have one. Everyone else did. I didn't get a cell phone until I was 24. But I was driving, and my Aunt Charlene was like, Sean, you better go home. Your dad is, something happened. And I went home, and yeah, apparently he had snorted some heroin. And a family member that he was partying with kind of saw this situation and just dropped him off.
Jesus Christ.
Just dropped him off back at my parents' house. And my sister Megan was like, something's off here. Called 911, and he was having a heroin overdose. Black tar heroin.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I just know that's what he had.
It doesn't sound snortable.
I know that's what we had. Yeah. Well, he probably was smoking it. I don't know. I don't know. Can you overdose from smoking heroin, though?
I don't know. That's probably good that we don't know the answer to
these
questions.
I don't mess with any of this stuff because, and it's crazy, even now, like I'm talking about this stuff, with such a sense of humor, but it was so serious. It was so serious for
Yeah, of
so
course.
long in my family. And it's kind of why I'm enjoying this time, like that we're reunited with them, and they kind of need us, and they're more humbled. And, there's just like less pressure on them from the world because you're not like raising 4 kids in an insane economy. So they've calmed down a little bit, but how the hell am I normal at all? How am I like not a total degenerate in every sense of the word?
I don't know. Isn't there like some rule about things skipping a generation?
Yeah, I think that's kind of why it does, though, because I saw so up close and personal what all this stuff does, and what turning your life over to substance abuse can do to you.
I was so worried about being an alcoholic that the first time, like maybe the second or third time I got drunk in like sophomore year, I was like, I quit. I'm not doing it.
I think it was a good instinct. I think that probably spared you a lot of bullshit. And a lot of the stuff we hear about, like just the tragedies that happen in young women's lives when they're fucked up at a young age and not looking out for each other. And because it was so, how long did you, like when did you start drinking and when did you stop and then when did you start again?
I mean, casually, very young, I would like drink a little bit.
What are we talking? How old?
I don't know. 8, like.
Whoa, Cass.
But that's just like drinking the leftovers,
That's crazy, though. The leftovers of what? Cocktails that the adults are drinking? That's still like pretty heavy duty.
I think around freshman years when I like probably got like really drunk for the first time. Sophomore year got really drunk.
What was your first time getting drunk?
I don't know. One of the first ones I remember was like a Valentine's Day. We did apple pie shooters at my friend Laura's house.
I never even heard of that drink.
I think it was like probably like apple vodka and whipped cream and
Okay.
I don't know.
And it was just the girls?
It was just the girls.
And you were over at Laura's?
But maybe there were a couple guys who stopped by, but it wasn't nobody I was interested in or would even remember.
And you guys were just having a girls' time, a little freaky deaky, just taking some shots and not blackout drunk.
Yeah, but I fell down the stairs and like cut my chin open.
That night?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I woke up with my head on tile, like a slate, and there was I thought there was blood, so I was just like licking up my blood, and then I realized it was
as one does.
As one does. And then I realized it was a red candle had melted.
Wow.
And so that was like one of those ones where I was like, okay, I went a little too far.
Yeah.
But the one that really got me was I like Laura's again, maybe the next year or later. I think it was sophomore year.
So sophomore year over at Laura's house.
Yeah, I sat down with a bottle of vanilla vodka. And my mom always said that you're an alcoholic if like there's a point in the night where you can't stop, where you just want to drink more. Rather than, that was like her litmus test.
Yeah, that's like totally
like an alcohol, like when you're not an alcoholic.
That's boomer thinking about alcohol.
Yeah, it's like she's like, well, I can have 3 drinks and then be like, that's enough. Your dad can have 3 drinks and he'll want like.
It is a pretty good indicator that there's an issue.
It's a litmus test.
Yes, yeah.
Of whether you're not like I've had enough or like there is no enough.
Yeah.
But I just sat down and had 8 shots of vanilla vodka, which was so irresponsible.
Holy shit.
And I remember just like doing the shot because I just wanted to party. I wanted to have a great time.
Yeah.
And then I like passed the bottle to my friend, I think Liz, and I was like, don't let me take any more. I think I've had enough. I stood up and I like blacked out the rest of the night. Woke up, I had like just stories about me being an asshole and puking on myself and swimming in my puke in the bathtub, and they threw my clothes out, just didn't. And I was like,
you needed to be taken care of.
Yeah, and I was like, there was some like really cute guy, and I was like, I don't know, like I'm even embarrassed saying this now, but
it's okay. This is how we release it. We're burning it. We're burning it up.
Yeah. Well, I guess there was this like cute popular guy, and I just like made an announcement in front of everyone, being like, I don't see you're like everyone likes you, and I just don't get it. And I don't even like I didn't even have those like sober thoughts. It was just a drunken asshole.
Oh, this isn't recording.
How long has it not been recorded?
I don't know.
Oh, good. I hope we can edit that last part out anyway.
Oh, no,
No.
Sorry to the viewers for not having a visual component for the past couple minutes.
Anyway, it was just a horrible thing. Like I don't want to be mean to anyone.
You embarrassed yourself and potentially other people.
Yeah,
It wasn't just on you.
Exactly, and that was
Yeah.
just horrible. To like find out about the next day, and so I quit for a couple of years. Was the president of Students Against Destructive Decisions.
Wow. So it really was, it created a shift in consciousness for you, like a really bad night that you were embarrassed about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that happens to a lot of people. Don't you know people who have like kind of overdone it and then they have to
I know
be
somebody that
like, go
overdid
straight
it.
edge, you know?
I know somebody that overdid it.
At that age, you kind of just have to be all in or all out. Like if you embarrass yourself too young, too early, like you're kind of best to be like, let me just make sure that doesn't happen again.
I think that's probably the best mode of operation. I mean, look, if we had kids, I would say, don't get involved with drinking. You don't even need to know what that's all about. It's stupid. Don't do it.
Yeah.
It could lead to the worst night of your life. You could really hurt somebody. You could kill somebody. You could kill yourself. Don't do it. Like, it's such a destructive force. And alcohol wasn't even the issue in my household at all. Thank God, actually.
I mean,
because what my dad was doing was not socially acceptable in any way.
From talking to my mom, the only thing she has said is like, at least your dad wasn't a gambler. You know what I mean? Like,
there's always a worse thing.
There's always
you
a
can
worse
point to.
thing. Yeah. There's always a worse thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's like, at least he didn't gamble.
Yeah, because your mom was out there doing all the earning. Like, if your dad was gambling it away, oh, Lord, yeah, that would probably bother her. And I mean, your mom was a drinker at the time, too, but she's not an alcoholic.
No, she's like, I'll drink half the bottle so you don't drink the whole bottle kind of person. And then he just opens another bottle. And she's like, why did I just drink half a bottle of wine?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I know somebody that went so off the rails, like their first couple weeks of college, had a night like what you just described, just where you're the center of attention for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And he fucking transferred schools, became straight edge, got straight edge tattoos, the whole deal.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Came back to drinking in a big way and hasn't stopped, and really should, really deeply should. And you know who you are if you're listening to this. Get yourself some fucking help, for Christ's sake. Don't make this an issue for your wife and your kids and your friends. You know, take care of yourself.
We just need love, and
yeah,
I think that's like, and it's a big thing within the Irish community to look for it in the bottom of a bottle.
Yeah,
you know, right?
Yeah, but like, I mean, when you're in 10th grade. Is that what you were like?
No, I wasn't even an alcoholic. Like I was so scared that I could be an alcoholic that I didn't even do my mom's litmus test. Like I literally sat down and just like consumed amount of alcohol that could have killed me at that age. Because I'm sure I weighed like, 110 pounds or something. You know?
Same you do now.
I'm like 115. Thank you very much.
Wow.
I have bigger boobs.
Wow. Then maybe you are an alcoholic. We don't even know really. Like, because to me, it's
no, I know.
It's more than I can't stop once I start. To me, it's the personality shift.
Well, for me,
that's what to me is. I'm like, that's a fucking alcoholic. When somebody gets a few pops in them and they become an overnight asshole, and they're all of a sudden they're saying all the stuff they wouldn't say, or maybe even a positive way. You know, like all of a sudden they're like less inhibited and they can finally say a nice thing, you know, or I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't have that much experience with it.
Yeah, I think I did the test where like I'm not, you know, the litmus test, at least by my mom's standards. But that's because I'm like a fairly happy disposition. Like,
yes.
That's why I won't ever touch heroin. People are like, it's no big deal. Don't even worry about it. It's like not even that great. And I'm like, okay, but like maybe at some point in my life, like I'll actually need an escape from life. And I don't even want to have heroin on the table. Like, you know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
It's less about like, yeah, right now I could probably do heroin and not be addicted. Like that doesn't mean I should try it.
Take what life's throwing your way. I mean, I'm one to talk. I'm recently soberish. But I don't know. To me, it makes sense to process things more in that way.
I love...
And party when there's not major issues on the table. Like, I know there's a time and a place for me to party. But it's not when I'm deeply grieving or I'm angry or I recently lost a gig or we went broke. That's not the time to party. That's I know what I'm seeking in those times is escape.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk about this too much because it feels like I'm talking about the bad times, but I just will say, like, our communication, like, has become so much better in the last month or so. You know what I mean? It feels not communication, but just
That's
like
one way of putting it.
our ability to relate to each other, because I think you're able to, because you're not medicating certain habits, that you have more like awareness and can speak to it in a way that has allowed us to connect on a deeper level, in the sense of when things do get hard, because they still get hard, you know, we still have moments of tension with each other, but our refractory period is shorter, I think.
Yeah, I think you talked about that a little bit on the last podcast, but now you have another week's worth of data points.
Yeah, and it still, I think, rings true.
Yeah, I think, like, you saw me have, like, a couple, like, I wouldn't call them dark days, just confused. And that's not like me. Because normally I would quash out the confusion with a bunch of hash and say, I don't care.
By adding more confusion.
It doesn't make me confused. It makes me not care. It makes me, like, totally fine with just, like, watching podcasts for the day. It placates me. But my soul doesn't want to be placated at all.
At least right now.
It wants to take that shit.
Well, I think what you're saying and what have been saying and what I appreciate is that you're like, look, weed has been great for me, and I'm sure it'll be great for me in another time. And there are times that it will be great, but like, you got to get bored with yourself. Like even your habits, you know, it feels like you have to switch it up, because we're here to be human and experience like the breadth of the human experience.
Well, and it's like when you take a tolerance break, it's not just tolerance for weed, it's tolerance for yourself. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Can you say more about that? What do you mean tolerance for yourself?
I don't want to tolerate that version of myself anymore.
What version of yourself?
That's fucking like just stoned and fuck it type of person.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think I became intolerant to that version of myself, and I wanted to like kind of.
Well, you almost became intolerant to that version of yourself, but also because that version of yourself was so intolerant to everything else. Yeah. For you, the church of chill meant like, don't fuck with my chill.
Yes.
Rather than just being like, I am responsible for my church of chill.
Yeah.
And I think that it like there's a more inner responsibility that can come forward when you're not necessarily using something to get you right there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. When did you start drinking again? That would have been deeper into college, I feel like.
I mean, like, yeah, I like drank some, but like very casually. I started getting drunk again like my junior year in college, when I like was like, I'm ready to party again. I had like a long distance boyfriend my freshman and sophomore year, and I was like, I'm tired of knitting.
Yes.
I'm tired of knitting and writing long papers and being a good girl.
It's time to make out with every boy at this college
that's
and somewhat straight. And girl. Well, yeah, you went to a college, I think luckily for me, you went to a college where there wasn't a lot of straight guys. And yeah, that way nobody's really scapped you up. You were a free agent when I came across you.
But I remember measuring out, I was like, 3 drinks is good. I'll have 3 drinks. And so I'd measure out 3 glasses of white wine.
Oh my God, can you imagine doing that now?
I was puking and crying literally like 3 weekends in a row, and I was like, this is not working.
From the 3 glasses of white wine?
Yeah, because like if I hadn't eaten or you know what I mean?
There's so many other factors with alcohol.
Yeah, but like just because because there are people who can handle 3 glasses of wine doesn't mean I can. Because I would literally measure out 6 ounces of 3 glasses of white wine and be like, all right, I'll be good with this. And then I'd just be crying and puking and the whole thing.
Wow.
But I think for the most part, short of 8 shots of vanilla vodka, I'm a pretty chill drunk. Like I'm a pretty happy until I pass out.
We've had our issues a couple times, few times.
But I think that's because I'm working off of your energy, who hates drinking so much that you're so angry at me that's drinking that you come, not to blame it all on you, but you come at me with a certain aggression where I'm just like, fuck you. And you,
the aggression of, I got to get you out of here before you further embarrass yourself and therefore me. I'm in charge of you. You know, you weren't just free agent Cass anymore. When it was like you're responsible for your person. It's probably the same way that if your parents went out and your dad got obliterated, it affected your mom in some way, and it affected her standing in the community. It affected the way people looked at her.
Yeah, no, I know. It's such a messy one.
It's
and it's like
mess.
that's just my story of drinking, but like you have the same thing maybe a little later where you like overdid it on Jägermeister or something. Everyone has their like
Yeah.
first drink that
Well,
they like never want to see again.
yours, like, it seems like you're drinking, and it adds up to barely anything, really. Your drinking was freshman and sophomore year, and then, like,
Junior, senior year.
junior, senior year, and then maybe one more year after.
Yeah, when we met.
When we met, we
And-
probably partied together for, like, a year.
Which was like, I got drunk with you one night. Maybe in our whole relationship, we've gotten drunk like 6 to 10 nights together.
Yeah, where we're drunk.
Like drunk, yeah.
Yeah. And, but for me, the first time I ever drank I was, like 20 and a half. And my girlfriend she had turned 21, so it felt like you can go buy beer, like, let's try it. And I remember I tried a beer, and I was like, okay, this is okay. And then a few days later was Halloween. This would have been when I was 20, so Halloween 2001, maybe right after 9/11. Hate to say it. A month after 9/11. So it felt like the world was falling apart.
Yeah,
Because I'm like,
fuck it.
what prompted this? And now
Yeah.
that I think about it, like, in the span of American history, what prompted it is, whoa, what
Yeah.
the hell is going on?
Yeah, being like very close to.
And all of a sudden, like you said, in this household, the news was on all the time. It went from la-di-da to 24/7 news.
Well, you felt like we were under this like idea that we were
Yeah.
under attack. And,
Yeah, doom and gloom, and my ancient DNA
and
going
revenge.
back to my ancient DNA going back to the motherland had a prescription for that. And so, yeah, on Halloween 2001, I drank a 40 up in the cemetery that we walk in every day. It was so fun.
Drinking is fun.
Yeah, oh God, it was the best.
was
It was an
so
old English 40, and I was just like, I just remember, like, there was all these accumulated gigantic piles of leaves, and I remember just, like, falling in them and, like, swimming around in them, and then going up to the deli I worked at and getting fucked with by the other people who had no one had ever seen me drunk. I was just, like, being silly.
The first 2 beers are like so fun, and you're so happy, and you have these rose-colored glasses.
The first 40 was
and-
great.
And then it just goes downhill from there. Like, you hurt yourself, you hurt someone else, you
Yeah.
embarrass yourself, you get sick, you get hungover. Like,
Yeah.
it's just truly, in the scheme of things, not worth the cost of admission.
No, not worth it. But I drank from then till 30, pretty much. Solid. I drank in my 20s.
And then weed helped you not drink anymore because you had something else.
Yeah, thank God. Well, thank God I met you, because I was surrounded by alcoholics before that. Like, there was nobody. There was no potheads. There was nobody thinking about anything other than, when are we going to party and drink more? All my friends, everyone I worked with, the whole of New York City is very much aligned towards drinking. At least it was back then. Yeah, I didn't really even think of ever stopping, or it was never even a thought. Like, I'm not drinking anymore. And then we just started smoking a little bit of pot, and it just replaced it completely, and where it just seemed fucking stupid. And I had a couple nights that you've seen me drunk, I don't know how many times, not that many
Like
times.
4 times.
Yeah. And 2 of them were just really bad, to the point where I'm like, I need help, you know?
Like, you're the most pathetic person I've
I'm
ever
just pathetic.
seen.
I'm just, like, puking on the bathroom floor, and I need help, and I'm like, I can't get to bed. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, you need to give me water and a pillow. You can be brought a pillow into the bathroom. And I remember the first time I was like, you'll never see me like this again. I was like, this is it. And I did it again, like, 4 years later. It's just ill-advised. Like, that's the whole thing with me. Is like, when I swear something off, I should really just swear it off, and I do a lot of the time. But alcohol is one of those things. It's like, if you turn your back on it, you should keep your back turned on it, because your tolerance goes down. You know, and I'm like, oh,
And
yeah.
if you had
I
a
haven't-
problem then, you probably have a problem again.
Yes,
you know what I
well,
mean? It's not like, you've healed all your trauma that makes
Yeah.
you not care about, like, whatever. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. And they tell you that in Alcoholics Anonymous. They're like, when you relapse, you'll get back to the bottom, like what your previous bottom was. You'll get back to that so much quicker and surpass it so much quicker than you could ever imagine. And yeah, I don't think I'm an alcoholic. I just think I hadn't drank in a while, and I went out with a work friend, and it just,
No,
one thing led to another,
wine can
and I
really-
was just fucked up off wine.
wine can be
And that's
really
when I was
intense.
truly like, you will never see me like this again. And you haven't. And that was 10 years ago. Thank God. But I did have good times drinking.
Yeah,
I can't completely knock it. God knows where we would be without it.
Yeah. I still think about it once in a while, like, oh, I want to have a night.
Yeah, but I think we have more refined substances to kind of get us to that same place now.
Yeah, I mean, considering I want to drink like once a year, I might as well just take Molly and fucking party. You know what I mean? Like, I might as well just like,
Yeah.
not just do the 2 beers that gets you like a love-eyed for like, you know, a couple hours, but take like Molly that you get like 6 hours, and it's amazing.
Well, not only
And
the
no,
6 hours, but then it could like really kind of change the course of your relationship and heal some things and help you, you know, move a lot of energy in your life.
Yeah, totally.
Can I say something positive about my grandmother, Mare?
Yeah, please.
She was always like, despite what I said about how she treated my father, she pretty much treated me the exact opposite. I could do no wrong. I was like the golden boy. But if it weren't for her, I probably, like, she encouraged me to go to Ireland when I graduated college, even though I had no money or anything like that. I took what little money I had. I found a cheap flight, and she went to Ireland with me and my sister and my girlfriend and my sister's best friend at the time. And man, if it hadn't been for that trip, I might be married to my first girlfriend and have kids and shit. Because I was in such a confined consciousness about life, and I was working at the deli, and I kind of maybe had some stuff going in the world of film and stuff, but it was so low level. Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. It just really opened my horizons in so many ways and just helped me see the world differently, helped me see the world as a bigger place. And yeah, I don't think I would have done that if she wasn't going herself and hadn't encouraged me to go. And, you know, my dad's never done that. He's still never been back to Ireland or done anything like that. And just, I don't know. It just really, I'll forever thank her for that. Because over there is where I was really having the heavy realizations about the track I was on and the person I was with and the job that I had, and that I really wanted a bigger life for myself. And that's where I started really dreaming it up for 15 straight days of drinking Guinness. Never got drunk, though. It's weird. Over there, like, you can drink like 4 or 5 Guinnesses a night and it doesn't really affect you.
Well, Guinness isn't the strongest beer.
It's not the strongest beer, but yeah, I'll forever thank her for that, for putting me in the position to get out of this country for the first time and introducing me to world travel, and something that's meant a lot to me. And I'm glad that I love my first girlfriend, but I'm glad I didn't marry her and have kids and kind of shrink the opportunity to become a filmmaker, because that's what I'm here to do. That's what I feel like I want to do. I'm still committed to that. Twice. That was half my life ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're doing this more than ever.
We're deep in this thing.
We're in this fucking thing.
Well, my favorite memory about your grandmother Mare was
this is the best.
passing her the vape.
Yeah. She got high one and only time in her life.
Yeah.
And it was because of you.
Yeah.
Because you had this, because you're so cute.
Yeah.
And you're just like, so, like, you don't seem like a troublemaker. You don't look like a troublemaker.
I'm the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you had this very strong vape pen that we were trying to get my sister Caitlin to hit it, because we were like, maybe if Katie could hit a vape pen of THC when there's maybe seizures happening, we could break them. I still think that could help. But we couldn't get Katie to do it. And I remember I was like, look, here's how you do it. And I tried it, and you tried it, and my mom tried it. And then my grandmother was like, what is this? And she just like took it, ripped this thing.
And she had
just started laughing.
From my memory, your dad, he was like, I don't really remember, but he came home and was like, she said some really nice stuff to me when I took her back.
He drove her home that day, and they really connected. And I just remember her just seeming relieved. Just like, all the stories, all the ancient DNA doom and gloom motherland bullshit that's just baked into us, all of the childhood traumas, everything just like went out the window for a minute. She was just like, oh, fuck yeah. And she was just laughing at us and smiling. And I'd never seen her like that. I never saw her like that since. So you provided for a really, I don't know, interesting moment
It was just kind of like a fuck it, like
in
here
my
you go.
family's in the hose of love that runs through the cosmos.
Yeah,
And
no, that was funny. That was a funny moment.
you really that was great. I
So
mean,
that's a good way to honor Mare and weed.
yeah, totally. I mean, I was there when your 93-year-old grandfather got high for the first time. He was like 91 at the time,
Oh yeah.
and him and your mom showed up at our apartment, and your mom was like, he wants to try weed, and we were like, all right, and we packed a bowl for him, and he ripped it, and just went to another dimension, and just sat there and listened to us all just talk shit and just like be classic stoner conversations, whatever the hell we were talking about. And your mom was so on one that your grandfather thought that we had smoked cocaine.
But she just gets like that when she smokes weed. She gets a little more talkative. But he was very astute, you know, in the sense of because he was a big cocktail drinker.
Yes.
And I guess you can live to 93 and drink cocktails every day.
Yeah.
But he was just like, weed's cool. Weed and basically his big epiphany about it. He wouldn't call it that, but to me, I was like, he's like, weed and alcohol don't mix.
Yes.
And it's like,
because
yeah.
he didn't want to drink as much that night. We went to Peter Luger's, the steakhouse in Brooklyn, and he ate like a motherfucker. I mean, that definitely, it had that effect on him for sure. It engaged his appetite. And yeah, like he ordered like a Manhattan or something at the bar.
I think he might have gotten a little spinsy.
Yeah, I think that he was like
You
still a
really
little
shouldn't be
high.
giving 90-year-old men the spins.
Yeah.
That
I
was
mean,
probably
introducing
ill-advised.
people in their 90s to weed is so funny though. It's just so funny.
But I mean, I can't even. There's a lot of people I know who, you know, got into edibles later in life, and it helps them sleep. And I mean, sleep is so important that it's just such a godsend. And also, like I was telling your mom today that, you know, when we went out to, I don't know if it was Colorado or California or Washington State or whatever, but I had my period once, and I was able to go to a dispensary and got like a patch that I put on.
Slow release THC.
Yeah, and it worked. So to think like,
Yeah.
and that's why it's just so criminal that we've criminalized this plant for so long, but especially when it comes to like athletes,
Mm-hmm.
that it's like instead of we're like legally you can take opiates, but you can't take weed. And like that weed that you can like put on your body and heal parts of yourself and like have pain relief.
Well,
It's not even psychoactive.
Talk about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's like they want to prevent them from doing performance enhancing substances, and they put weed into that, and it's just like the only way weed's enhancing your performance is by like alleviating pain in a non-opioid fashion. Like, why wouldn't that be encouraged for athletes? And I think it kind of is now. I'm pretty sure everyone in the NBA and NFL smokes weed.
It's just like, I mean, I think there's,
I don't think it would help you in baseball.
yeah.
No. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
What is it called when there's a psyop or something? I think it's like the alcohol industry and different industries, the pain industry that don't want to compete with weed, you know, the pharmaceuticals, all this stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like a concerted effort. The paper industry didn't want hemp to be widely available. I don't know. Hemp is such a universal. Do you ever see that video of a car bumper and they take a sledgehammer
Yeah, it's
to
made
it
of hemp.
and it's made of hemp and it just like
They're smashing this thing with a sledgehammer, and the sledgehammer's just like bouncing off. It's like that. Yeah, they could have ended up making cars, a lot of things out of it, houses,
we still
plastics. So many plastics could have been replaced with hemp, but they made it illegal.
Yeah.
And just recently became legal.
How
you doing? You want to get out of here?
do you want to do a short Patreon?
I'm down.
Or we could just do it, because I do want to talk about our July plans.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, we're going to do another space camp. We're going to talk about it on the Patreon episode, and we'll talk about some other weird shit. I'll tell a weird story or
Yeah,
two.
it's going to be a quick one.
Yeah, we'll do a quick one, but we deeply appreciate people supporting us on Patreon. It's helped us get through the past couple of years.
It just makes this all seem worth doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like that there's someone who wants a little fireside bullshit where we talk shit on alcohol for the umpteenth time.
Whatever. We're just talking shit.
No,
We're having a good time.
I will talk shit on alcohol until
Every episode.
everyone gets it.
Yeah.
Until everyone gets it, I will make it my mission to talk shit on alcohol.
Yeah, it's
And
it,
so
it's been unfathomably destructive
yeah,
to people's bodies, souls, whole countries, cultures, this kind of thing. And yeah, there's a time and a place for a little glass of wine, but beyond that, like, get off that shit. Come on.
come on.
We could do better. We can do better. That's all it is. It's just like it's like, let your brightness out. If you think your brightness comes from alcohol, you've been sorely hypnotized by the substance. It's not that. It's not the. It's not the thing. It's not the thing that's generating your brightness. You know.
It gives you access to something, and that's where I can even appreciate alcohol. Like, I can appreciate the access I've had to, like, being a wild person and tapping into wild animalistic natures and stuff like that. There's, like, a value in that, and I don't want to throw it all out. But
We're not. That's why we're having Space Camp. We're bringing back Space Camp, and we're going to talk about the details of that on patreon.com/churchofchill. Deeply appreciate all supporting us. Peace, love, and magic.